Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be the best old makeup of the year. Usually I do a yearly favorites video talking about just all my favorites for the year, but this year I've decided to split it up. This video is going to be all old favorites. These are not things that I tried this year. Loved and enjoyed them all year long. I do plan on doing a newer favorites as well, but I've been on a low buy this year and I am so glad that I did that. I did try new makeup, but I was also able to really enjoy the products that I already owned. So I will list everything in the description box, and I did film this makeup look. It's going to be an Instagram tutorial. I haven't had time to film any get ready with me's for YouTube. I do plan on doing that again in the new year, but for this month I haven't had time, so I've been uploading Instagram tutorials instead. So check that out. Everything will be in the description box. Let's get started. Alrighty, I have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to start with the most basic, the Milani eyeshadow primer. I have been using this for a few years now, and I have very oily eyelids, but this just works for me, so I use it every single day. I really, really love it. It keeps my eyeshadow from creasing, because I do have like creases and lines on my eyelids, like I said. Also oily eyelids, and yeah, this is great. I've been repurchasing this for a few years now. There are a few things that I did technically repurchase this year, but I didn't try them for the first time this year. I'm like flipping my hair over here. So yeah. Okay, let's move on to concealer. I'll do kind of more complexion stuff first, and then I'll do lip products, and I've got quite a few eyeshadow palettes to talk about. For concealer, another favorite that I have that I finished this year was the CoverGirl one. I love that one, and I've repurchased it a couple of times. Also, I've still been loving Tarte Shape Tape. I've been repurchasing this for a few years. This is the one I'm wearing today. I still like this. My under eye area is very dry and I have a lot of lines there. For me, this works. I don't use very much though. I just put like a small amount here and then blend it out with a sponge. And this is like my third tube of Shape Tape. I like it. I have the shade Light. Like I said, that's the one I'm wearing today. This one I repurchased this year, but I tried this for the first time last year and I really like it. It's the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. Really enjoy this. The shade I have now is a bit too dark, and the last one I had was a bit too light. This shade is medium sand. I need to get something, because the other one I had before was I think light sand, and that was too light. So anyway, but I love the formula, very hydrating. I did try the original Camo Concealer. I felt that one was a bit too dry and heavy, but the hydrating, amazing. And then I used this concealer so much this year. This is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I have the shade 01 Pearl. This is really, really good. And this may be my favorite out of all of these. It's a bit lighter than the Shape Tape. I don't know. I just really enjoy it. Also, this color matches me really well. I can't complain. I've really enjoyed this, and it's a high-end product, but you get a lot more concealer than in the other ones because you get 0.5 ounces, which is the size of half a foundation. So yeah, I enjoyed this one all year long. As far as primer, I actually don't have any primers here because the ones I currently own, I did buy this year, but I have combo skin and I like pore filling primers. And I would say as far as an old favorite, I didn't repurchase it this year, probably the original Smashbox one. I still think that that one is really, really great. And I probably would repurchase that at some point. And for face powder, because I have combo skin, I'm not super oily, there's a lot of face powders that work for me, and the majority of the year I use the one from Charlotte Tilbury because I was working on Project Panning it, and I completely finished it up, and I liked it, but I have so many face powders that work for me in my collection that it's kind of like I can use almost anything to set my face. But for under eyes, no, I cannot. This is a product I've talked about a lot, I know. It's the original Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. This is a holy grail product. I've been repurchasing this as an under eye setting powder for almost a decade. Like I said, my under eyes, I've got lines, but they're also dry. So a lot of powders look really heavy and dry on my under eyes, or the concealer still creases. I don't know, there's something about this that keeps my concealer from creasing. It's like magic, so I just keep repurchasing it. Like I said, almost a decade. This is a holy grail product. Okay, let's talk about some cheek products. For bronzer, I kind of feel almost like setting powder with that because for the majority of the year, I used my ColourPop bronzer, which I did finish in a project pan. And I don't know, I like the bronzers that I have. I feel like once you find like an undertone and formula you enjoy, I don't know, I don't need a ton of variety in bronzer. This is an older one though. I bought this last year in 2020 and I did use this a decent amount this year and really enjoy it. This is the Bare Minerals Photan bronzer. This is a really nice color, really good undertone for me. I'm not wearing this today. I thought I was, but no, I'm not. I'm wearing one from Marc Jacobs, which I like that one too. So I don't know. I feel like the undertone just really works for me, but I have several other bronzers that I enjoy as well. And like I said, all year I was project panning the ColourPop in Coconut Beach, and I liked that one too. This is an older product in my collection that I used all year long, and I still love it. I think I've had this, I can't remember, either 2 or 3 years. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow. This is the light one. They do also have a darker version of this palette, and I love both the highlighter and the contour side. This contour is a bit on the neutral side, so sometimes I used it for contour and sometimes I just used it all over as bronzer. Obviously, I've hit pan on these and I have used these a lot. The formula is still great. It just works. I don't know. This is just a product that it just works. It always looks good, blends out easily, really no complaints. And this year I got more into subtle highlighter. In years past, I was into a more intense highlight, but I don't know. And I feel like most of the year I was working on highlighters and project pans and I mostly used those. A lot of my highlighters look the same, I've realized. This one does stand out and I really did enjoy this one. This is the Essence Pure Nude in the shade Be My Highlight. They do have other colors of this as well. I really like it. It's a simple champagne color. It's definitely on the subtle side though. So sometimes I actually just use this as finishing powder. I just like it, and yeah, I'm not really into super intense highlighter like I once was, and honestly, I could use the majority of my highlighters and just use a light hand and I would probably enjoy the result. Got a little bit out of order. Foundation, let me go back and talk about that. I actually did try quite a few new foundations this year, so like I said, I'll talk about those in another video, but as far as old favorites, Estee Lauder Double Wear, this is still the #1 best foundation I've ever tried. I don't know, it just looks good. It lasts all day. This is definitely my go-to for more special occasions. I've mentioned before, I wore this on my wedding day and it just looked good in person and in photos, and I've worn this for 20 plus hours and I don't know, on my combo skin, this just works. Also, I really like this shade 2N1 Desert Beige. I also had the shade 1W1 Bone in the past and that one works for me too. Again, this is something I've been repurchasing. This I think I've been repurchasing since around 2013 or 2014. It's crazy. Yeah, I've gone through, I don't know how many bottles, 7, 8 bottles, maybe more. It's full coverage. I don't find this too heavy though. I think this is a foundation, and like the Tarte concealer, people always or often say that it's too heavy on them, but I just don't put a lot on and I don't really have that problem. But I don't know, this just works for me. But I will be talking about some newer foundations, like I said, in another video that I did try this year. This is a great multi-use product that I really love, and it's the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. And I have the shade 1 Fair. I think this comes in 7 shades. I use this in a multitude of ways. Sometimes I use it just as a liquid highlighter. Sometimes I mix it in with foundation. Sometimes I put it on under my foundation. It just adds a glow. It's a subtle product. It really is. But I find that it makes a difference. And I bought this over a year ago and I used it all of this year. And I still have quite a bit left. I use this on a regular basis. So this is something... This I will say, and then that duo with the bronzer and the highlighter from Charlotte Tilbury, I feel like I've really gotten my money's worth because they're expensive products. This is $44, but I've used it so much and I still have a lot left. So, and if I did ever finish this, I would totally buy it again. Old brow favorites for the year, I used the Abh Brow Pomade, which I've had this for a while. I have this shade dark brown. I am wearing this today. And yeah, sometimes this gets dried out and I just put a little setting spray in there and then it gets revived and it still works. I've had this same one for over 2 years, I think. So you can tell that it's dry, but I don't know. I can reactivate it very, very easily. I still really do like this pomade. And then, so what I like to do to fill in my brows, I'll either use pomade or a powder or brow pens, which those were a new favorite. So we're not talking about those today, but tinted brow gel for me is a must. And this is an old favorite. I have repurchased this throughout this year because one of these only lasts me about 3 to 4 months. It's the e.l.f. Wow Brow, and this is only $4, and I really, really love it. It almost adds some fibers. It just works. So a lot of days I use this on its own, and then if I want a more dramatic brow, then I'll use pomade or something else, and then this on top. Oh, what shade do I have? I have the shade Neutral Brown. And I've been repurchasing this, I think, for about 2 years now. Alrighty, so we have blush, lip products, and eyeshadow left to talk about. Let's talk about blush. These were some really great old favorites of the year. The Cover FX Duo in Pink Dahlia. This is something I bought last year at the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I love this peachy shade. I love the highlighter too. Sometimes I mix them together. This is a beautiful blush formula and I really, really enjoy it. Another favorite, this is one that I did buy last year as well. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Blush. This is a more luminous formula, but it is really beautiful. This shade is very neutral, but she has tons of shades in this range and I really love it. I did wear this blush quite a bit, so that one is amazing. Another old favorite is the one from e.l.f. This is in Always Cheeky. This is kind of like a true peach color. I really love this. I'm trying to remember if I bought this at the beginning of last year, maybe even 2019. I don't remember. I've had this blush for a while. This is a very smooth formula, very easy to blend. I would say it's a bit similar to the Cover FX as far as formula. Great to use. Really love that one. Now, I did fall in love with cream blush this year, so again, I'll talk about some new ones in another video, but this is a cream blush I already had. I got this in PR last year from Undone Beauty, and this is the Lip Cheek palette in the shade Rosy, and I used this a lot. This is a really nice formula, easy to blend out, and yeah, I got a lot of use out of this year. All right, let's just get through the lip products because I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes to talk about. Mcgrath Glosses, still love these. This one I did technically get this year because last year I tried the glosses from Mcgrath for the first time and I finished all of the ones that I had. And I had 6 minis and 1 full size and I panned all of them. I love this formula, such great shine. This shade is Sunset Rose, but I've had a lot of colors, like I said, and it's just such a nice formula. It's smooth and it's very shiny. Really love that. Lipstick. This is an older lipstick that I really still like. This is MAC Feels So Grand. This is their matte liquid lipstick formula. This is a really good formula. This is a very true red. It's not too drying. It's very comfortable on the lips. I also have a more neutral shade from MAC in this same formula, and yeah, I really enjoy both the color and the formula. Another lipstick, this is something I got last year. This is from Propa Beauty. This is a very satin, shiny lipstick. This is very soft, so it does kind of get squished a bit easily. This shade is Made It from Propa Beauty. I love this like orangey brown. As you can tell, yeah, it's getting a little bit squished because this is a very, very soft formula, but that one is great. And then NYX Butter Glosses, I've been using these for years. I have finished several of these and I still think this is a really great lip gloss formula. A lot of shine, not too sticky. This particular shade is Creme Brulee, but I have tons of shades of those. And then the Cab Beauty Gloss, I used this quite a bit too. This is something I got in BoxyCharm last year. So random, never heard of this brand, but this shade is charming. It's like a pinky mauve. It's a pretty pigmented color, but I really, really like this. So yeah, most of this year I used a lot of Project Pan lip products. and I layered a lot of different products together because it's just fun for me to do, and I hardly bought any lip products this year. Okay, it is time for my favorite part of makeup, and that is eyeshadow. I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, so I just picked out some palettes that I've had from before this year that I used quite a bit. First up, Sigma Untamed. I bought this on Black Friday 2020. And I love this color story. I love the Sigma formula. I have several Sigma palettes. I did get some new ones this year as well on my low buy. This one is amazing. I would say this is my favorite color story that they've done. But yes, I think that the mattes are very pigmented, easy to use. Really, really love that. I have filmed a look with that one, by the way. I've actually filmed looks with a lot of these palettes, so those you can find in my Reviving Old Eyeshadow Palettes playlist. I'll link that in the description box and in the cards. The Glam Palette, this is another one that I bought last year, and I used it a lot this year as well, and I still love it. Cool, neutral. Again, this is one I have done a look with also. Love it. Natasha Denona is definitely my #1 favorite formula. I also do love Sigma and also BH Cosmetics, which I'll talk about this one. But I would say that Natasha Denona is my favorite formula. And I did buy some new palettes from her this year as well. Another one I already had was the Bronze palette. Beautiful, beautiful warm tones. Again, I have filmed a look with that one. And BH Cosmetics, an old favorite, is the Avocado Toast. I love this one. Such a beautiful formula. Their shimmers are so stunning, and the mattes are pigmented but easy to blend. I would say probably BH is my second favorite formula after Natasha Denona, and great price. This palette I think is only $17. And yeah, I really love this one. Like I said, filmed a look with that one too. Anastasia, I would say, is not my favorite formula anymore. It used to be, but I still love the Norvina palette. I think this one is so good. This is a really unique color story. Again, I filmed a look with this one too for that series that I mentioned. I think this is just such a unique palette. I don't have anything like this in my collection. I truly, truly love it. Like I said, Anastasia is not my favorite formula anymore, but this palette is stunning. This shade here is so unique. I don't have anything like that in my collection, and I really, really love it. I do have, another Natasha Denona to talk about, the Metropolis. I got this palette when it first came out, which was, I think, in 2019, and sadly, this one has been discontinued now, I've heard, which is really sad because I think this is one of her best palettes. This formula is beautiful. I have filmed several looks with this one on my channel, and I just love the warm tones, and I love the greens in here. This is like the perfect fall palette, and I still love it. All right, 4 palettes left to talk about. The Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Bejeweled Eyes to Hypnotize. This is her holiday palette from last year. It's still being sold on her website though. I love this formula. I've mentioned before, I have 2 of the quads, and I don't like the quad formula as much. I think this formula is smoother, easier to work with than the quads. So personally, I would not repurchase any more quads from her. These full-size palettes are $75, but I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of this because I just love it so much. And there's a lot of variety. You've got more neutrals, you've got some purples, you've got some browns, you've got the reddish pink shades. These are more beautiful on the eyes than they look in the pan. This is a really good palette, and I did buy her holiday palette from this year as well, and I think it's just as good. Here's a really old favorite, the Tarte Toasted. I still love this palette. It is a very kind of stereotypical fall warm tone palette. I really like it. Again, this is one I filmed a look with for the Reviving Old Palettes series. I do plan on continuing that series in the new year, but I just have too many other videos to film right now, but I will be bringing that back if you were wondering. And then another one, also filmed a look with this one, the Dose of Colors Marvelous Mauves. I pulled this palette out earlier this year when the Natasha Denona Retro palette came out, because I do think there are some shades in this that are similar to ones in that palette. I did still end up buying the Retro, and it's amazing, but I still love this palette. This is a very powdery formula, but they are smooth and easy to blend. I have 2 others of these Dose of Colors 5-pan palettes, but this is the one that I've used the most, and I really, really love it. And I still love this palette. This is the Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership 2, and this one's amazing. I did buy another Pat McGrath palette this year, but this one is so beautiful. Again, filmed a look with this one too this year, and just, yeah, I mean, no words really. There's something really unique about the Pat McGrath formula. I would say I prefer using BH and Natasha Denona over Pat McGrath because they're easier to work with. I have to spend more time on my eyeshadow when I'm using a Pat McGrath palette, but the final result is more unique. I think her formulas are more unique. These are her like special shades here, but also this palette has some satins and mattes, and they're all really amazing. So I truly think the Pat McGrath formula is more unique, even though I personally find it a bit more time consuming to work with. I still love the end result. So for me, my Pat McGrath palettes are not as like everyday, quick and easy, do a look with them like I can with the Tarte palette or BH or Natasha Denona. But this is more like I'm gonna spend more time on my eyeshadow, you know, kind of more dramatic, sparkly looks. Yeah, still love this one. It is fantastic. Alrighty, that was it. Best old makeup of the year. I loved these products, and I've had these for a while. Some of these products I've had for like 2 or 3 years. Like I said, I have filmed looks with a lot of the eyeshadow palettes that I mentioned, so you can find those in my Reviving Old Palettes playlist. And yes, I do plan on talking about some newer favorites too, but I am so glad I was on a low buy this year. It has helped me out so much. I do plan on continuing some sort of low buy in the new year, which I'll introduce later on because I have too many other videos to film right now. But yeah, I'm just really happy I was able to enjoy the products that I already owned. So let us know what some of your old favorites were. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.